Hey y'all, it's my review for the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, Season 4, Episode 3. The ladies have been bringing it. I gotta admit, I love this episode. Apologize for the late review, but I feel like if I debut this review on the day that a new episode comes on, then yeah, I feel like the views will still be the same. And y'all have been watching. I will give that to y'all. So, thank y'all for voting. And I'm glad I'm reviewing it so far. Like I said, we're going to go to episode 9 and see how I feel before I make, okay, this season is great. Anywho, we left off on the cliffhanger of Meredith and the other ladies getting to the Trixie Motel, not knowing that Whitney brought Angie K. So we're still waiting on the ladies' reactions, especially Meredith. Child, here go Lisa again, bringing up for the umpteenth time that she lost her $60K ring. I mean, I get it, it's devastating that she lost it, but don't she have insurance on it, or shouldn't she? People in the chat with expensive jewelry, let me know. So as Trixie's greeting them, she lets them know that the other ladies are already here. So Meredith and the girls, they're like, what? Who? And then right on cue, Whitney and Angie K come out like, hi. Monica, she grabs Heather immediately, like some mouths dropped. And then Meredith, she's trying to keep her cool. She's like, I feel like she's trying to process this, and it's still Meredith. She's not going to charge at her and throw her ass in the pool. Yeah, Meredith has a good poker face. She even hugs Angie K. She's like, I didn't know you were coming. I will say in real life, I would never go to something that I wasn't invited to. I'm like, fine, because my presence is a present. Ninjas. But I get it, it's reality television. If I was on a TV show, of course I'm gonna crash the vacation. We're getting all the ladies' reactions. We get to Mary, she's like, who's Angie? So we move on to the ladies looking at all the rooms, and I like this little property. And as much as I go to Palm Springs, I wouldn't mind staying here. Now see, Angie, you picking out your room before the hostess and the other ladies even get there? That's rude AF. For you not to even be invited in the first place, you could have waited. So most of the ladies go to their rooms to go change, but Angie and Whitney, they're out in the sun. Lisa joins them, and she's here for the surprise, and she's wondering why Angie K wasn't invited in the first place. As they're talking, though, Meredith comes outside to get to her room. It is silence, complete mute. So awkward. She's a pressure cooker just waiting to go off, and believe me, y'all, by the end, she went off. The cameras follow Meredith into Heather's room and they're talking, but we cut to Mary's room right quick because I'm guessing she could hear Heather. Mary has her wig off and she's like, Heather has a big mouth. Then we cut right back to them. Is this what we're in for the entire season with Mary? I mean, production knew what they were doing. Anyway, of course Heather and Meredith are talking about Angie being there. Heather's wondering, how does Meredith feel about this? And Meredith's like, you know what, Heather? There's so many things going on in the world. If this is what makes her happy, fine. She says this reflects on her character. She's just going to let it ride and move on. I think that's the way to do it, because what's she going to do? Just tell her to leave? Well, we'll get to that. We cut back to the ladies outside, and Angie's complaining how Meredith is fake and didn't invite her. She's being passive aggressive. But girl, you're already there, so just make the most of it. At least be nice to the hostess. And then afterwards, at least maybe have a conversation about why weren't you invited. But you just being flippant while you're there, it doesn't help the situation. We find out from Meredith the reason why she didn't invite Angie was because their last few interactions have been unpleasant. And production reminds us, because I forgot Angie came from Meredith at the reunion saying that she lacks social skills and she needs to be in a cubicle. That was actually pretty funny, but y'all know Meredith be holding a grudge, so I'm guessing that's why she wasn't invited. So a little later, the ladies are being served lunch. It's still only Angie K and Whitney out there, but Mary decides to join them. And Angie's trying to be nice to Mary. She's like, Mary, come over and come sit by us. And then she says it again, and Mary's like, I am not coming over there. Please stop talking to me like that. And then Angie's like, oh, okay. The way these ladies are just so afraid of Mary, it kind of drives me crazy, because I'm like, who are you talking to? I'm trying to be nice to your weird ass. Like, she does not belong in this group at all, yet they just tolerate it. And it's so weird and awkward because you have Whitney and Angie sitting here and then Mary a few feet behind them. But then Mary decides to ask Whitney, so I don't understand, why are you guys here early? Whitney says it's because she knows Trixie. And Mary's like, that's why you're here early? And then Whitney's like, well, Meredith invited me and I told Trixie I was coming early. Then Mary calls her childish. Angie then interjects and says, well, it might feel childish to you, but Whitney was being inclusive. Mary interrupts her and said, I wasn't talking to you. Now, I know Angie responded at some point, but it looks like production cut it out. They made it seem like it was just silence after that. I don't know. I wouldn't take Mary's shit if I was Angie K, even though Angie's in the wrong for coming to a trip she's not invited to. So Meredith comes out and gives all the ladies little gift bags, except for Angie K. We see she's making little snide remarks. Meredith is then telling the ladies the plan for today. They're all gonna go shopping, but they're gonna be paired up into people who have had friction with each other in the past. So she's gonna be paired up with Lisa, and she's gonna choose an outfit for her for them to wear to dinner afterwards. So I'm assuming Whitney and Heather are going to be paired too. Now, as Meredith says she's going to go shopping with Lisa and maybe buy her something, Mary blurts out, maybe you could buy her a ring. Like, she just lost that ring and Mary made a joke about it. And then they just continue on like she's not even there. It's really fascinating. So Monica and Mary are going to be paired off to go shopping, and I'm guessing Angie K, like, she can pick whatever group she wants to be a part of. After Meredith tells her this, Angie's like, well, thank you for not acknowledging that you didn't invite me. I'll figure it out. Monica's like, ew, sassy right out the gate. Meredith, she just, she brushes it off. But Angie K's a little taken aback that Monica dared to say something. Bitch, you was rude. I'm glad Monica said something. So a little later, the ladies separate, and it's Lisa, Angie, and Whitney. And Angie's complaining about Monica's outbursts, like how she doesn't have her back. Oop, and we see Monica approach all three of them and say, well, I can hear you from the Malibu room. It seems like you have a problem. Angie's like, I'm glad you're here, Monica. That statement that you made was unnecessary. Like, she talks in a staccato. I'm still trying to get her voice down, y'all, but I'm gonna get it. How about you check in with me? You know I introduced you to this group. And not Angie K trying to pull rank on Monica when she just got here her damn self. Like, this is your first season as a full-time, just like Monica. Y'all are on the same even turf right now. But Monica, she came right back and said, well, you were actually rude to the hostess, and me being your friend, I'm gonna call you out even when you're wrong. She even called her condescending and insulting when Meredith's just trying to be a good hostess. And she's right. Lisa and Whitney can't even say nothing to that. Lisa even excuses herself from the conversation. Angie K's a little taken aback by it. Monica's like, you need to take that up with Meredith and not me. And that is how you check a bitch. Conversation over. So next scene, we see the ladies heading to go shopping. Lisa complains about her ring again. Looks like this is going to be a common theme throughout the episode. Lord, so it turns out these stores that Meredith is taking them to are these kind of like these tourist shops like you see in these rinky-dink strip malls. So it's not, I was thinking like Chanel, Gucci, Prada, Louis, something like that. But no, and they're going to go to dinner dressed up in those clothes. Like at a nice spot. So they're in two groups right now. It's Lisa, Angie, Whitney, Heather, and Meredith. And then it's Monica and Mary at a different store. We're with the first set of girls, and Meredith is trying her best, but it looks like she's just getting increasingly irritated by Angie's presence. Because not only are you not invited, but you're being rude as well. So I can get Meredith's frustration. Like, I can't even be on Angie K's side because she's being a rude bitch. So we're with Monica and Mary, and they're actually getting along. Mary's being polite to her. Look, I know y'all love Crazy Mary, but I've just been itching for somebody to put her in her place. Because she just gets to be mean and insulting without any consequence. And it irks me. So the ladies all come out the dressing room with the outfits that the other picked for them, and they all look a hot mess. Especially Lisa. Like, what she's wearing, she's basically wearing a bikini with a wrap over it. Meredith picked this out for her. Judging from this, Meredith still holds grudges. They're on their way to a nice restaurant and she has Lisa wearing that. I'm probably getting ahead of myself, but I could see if they went to like a franchise restaurant or somewhere super casual, but they went somewhere with white tablecloth and wine glasses on the table. Looking crazy. Now, looking at what the other ladies are wearing, Meredith looked like she on her way to an Easter picnic. Whitney looked like she on her way to a sermon at a Baptist church. And Heather looked like she on her way to a Salt and Pepper concert. So then they meet up with Mary and Monica, and collectively they all look a hot mess. The only person that looks suitably good, in my opinion, is Monica, but that hat she's wearing throws it off. So the ladies are all in the Sprinter headed to dinner. Lisa brings up her ring yet again, and it looks like Monica's getting increasingly annoyed by it. We see Lisa looking up the place they're going to, and she is mortified that they're headed to a 5-star restaurant and she's dressed like that. And I actually understand why she's upset. Meredith could have went somewhere way less formal. So they get to dinner looking a fool. They're all seated and everything's going fine so far. Everyone's getting along. They even do a little toast. Side note, can I just express my disdain for espresso martinis? I feel like there's just been a recent surge in people ordering them. So then we see Whitney. She wants to play a game at the table.
Think of something that no one knows about you and it would shock us.
Meredith decides to go first, and she says when she was a child, she used to go to Palm Springs to visit her grandmother. That's it. Something that we don't know about her that the group would be shocked about. It's lame so far. Whitney goes next and she said,
I used to write. I used to journal.
What? Heather says she's into birds. Then on the topic of birds, Mary chimes in, says she used to have an African gray. And Mary calling the bird strange, scratch that. Mary calling anything strange is rich. It's Mary's turn, and she says something that no one knows about her is she's a loner. Production, roll the footage. We see her isolating herself purposely from the group at least 3 to 4 times. This is such a whack-ass game. Like, all the ladies have failed so far in saying anything shocking. And thank you, Monica, for waking it the fuck up. She said, y'all are boring. This one talking about birds, journaling. When I was a kid, I went to Palm Springs. Thank you. She says, I was fucking my brother-in-law for 18 months. Thank you, Monica, for understanding the assignment. We appreciate you. All the ladies are clutching their pearls at that one. And Heather, I mean, she already knew that tea, so she's laughing. But look, pay attention to Heather because she is downing those espresso martinis. Oh, Whitney, not another game. It's giving calculated. It's giving production.
It's warm and fuzzy, cold and prickly. Say something nice about the person and then something prickly about them.
Just say you want to start some shit at the table. So in this game, we start with Heather and Angie. And I forgot to compliment Heather told Angie. It really doesn't matter. But she says that she don't trust her as her cold and prickly. So she's basically calling her a friend jumper. How Angie was all up Jen's ass, and then now Jen's gone, she's up Lisa's ass. Like, she's trying to, like, I guess, latch herself on to somebody in the group. And Lisa brings up a good point. She's like, well, Heather, you were all over Jen. Should we not trust you? She got her ass there because, Heather, you were doing the same thing Angie was doing, and y'all were both abused by Jen. All Heather can say is, why are you so invested in what's going on between me and Angie? Heather, answer the question, though. Like, should we not trust you then? So Heather and Angie are going back and forth. And I gotta be honest, Heather's looking a little stupid right now because the reason for her not to like Angie is kind of silly. I can even see Meredith's reason, you know, because she holds a grudge and stuff because Angie really did come for her at the reunion. It just seems like she's irritated that Angie isn't tripping over herself or her friendship. Angie even asked her, like, what have you done to be my friend? And Heather's like, I'm not the one on trial here. Okay, deflection. Thank you, Monica. Let's move on. Lord, so here we go. We jump to Meredith's turn, and she's telling Whitney, you know, what she likes about her is her intentions are usually good. And before she can even say her prickly, Whitney says, oh, that I invited Angie K. Meredith's like, I wasn't even going to say that. I was going to say you need to work on your communication skills. Meredith tries to skirt around the issue, but then Mary, of all people, calls Meredith out, saying, that's not what you said earlier, Meredith. You say earlier that you were annoyed that Angie K is here. The camera then cuts to Heather as she's just having a key watching all this go down as she sips her drink. Meredith says she really doesn't want to get into it, but Mary and Whitney, they are trying to push this conversation. So at least Mary is doing her job as a friend of. Whitney then explains again that she came here early because Trixie was her friend. So it looks like they're not going to get into it yet. They move on. And now it's Monica's turn to critique Lisa. So the positive she tells Lisa is she's glad she's being a good sport about being in this restaurant dressed like that. And her prickly is Lisa bringing up her $60,000 ring all day and just hearing that as a person without Lisa's privilege. Like she's going through a divorce, like she's trying to figure out like what she's going to do as a single mom, and she's hearing her complain about her ring. The rest of the table is silent because, you got the new girl coming for the OG. Lisa says, well, I didn't bring it up all day. Come on, production, roll the footage. It looks like she mentioned it at least 5 times. Lisa then says, well, I'm stressed about it. I'm sad. It just happened today. It was sentimental. Monica's like, girl, I get that. Look, I put my hand in a tampon box looking for it for you. I just want you to be a little aware about it. I think Angie and now Lisa are just taken aback that Monica is coming up against them because she's thinking, oh, okay, this new girl, she's on our side. But it looks like Monica ain't got no alliances, and I appreciate that about her. I would compare this moment of Monica telling Lisa about her ring to Courtney telling Kim, people are dying. Monica and Lisa are still going back and forth, and the other ladies are just silent watching this happen. And Monica says, girl, I'm just trying to point out that you're blessed. That's all. So far, low-key, high-key, Monica is my favorite. She is earning that snowflake. She's putting these ladies to work. So later in the dinner, Angie speaks up and says she wants to do some type of toast and associate a Greek word or some bullshit. It means fake. And she's coming for Meredith head on. She says, I came here with an open heart. Girl, no you weren't. You were rude straight out the gate with Meredith. Like y'all should have been had a little separate one-on-one so y'all can move forward. So Meredith tells her, you publicly said that we would never be friends. And I think if she said that, production would have definitely played it. So I think Meredith's lying here. Angie says she never said that and goes on to say, you really treated me inappropriately and I just want to tell you how that made me feel. Meredith says, I'm really not interested. Heather then busts out laughing at the table. Angie tells Meredith, you're being very rude. And Meredith's like, you can leave then. And Angie's like, I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying here. Uh-oh. So she get Meredith to that point. Meredith is warning her, you don't even want to start with me, sweetie pie. She's starting the short circuit. Oh, they are going at it. When I was first watching, I was like, ho ho, ho 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 ho. Angie tells Meredith, well, if I wasn't your friend, how come I spent all this time helping you with something that you needed? You wasted my time. Meredith is like, I will be happy to write you a check for your time. You can go. Angie comes right back though and says, we gonna write me a check for with that jewelry sitting in your store collecting dust and cobwebs. I think that was the button that definitely activated Meredith. And then we see Heather on the side just laughing. Meredith is definitely starting the short circuit. She goes into a British accent. You are embarrassing yourself. Angie keeps going though and says, embarrassing? You're the one written your whole life. That's embarrassing. Meredith's like, go! We then see Monica trying to stop Angie from talking. We cut to Monica's confessional. She basically says, I don't know who Angie trying to press because she ain't gonna bust a grape. Now she didn't say it like that, but that's how she meant it. They're going back and forth now, calling each other embarrassing, and the insults look like they're getting more personal. The ladies are trying to interject, but then Meredith has had enough. She leans back and says, you can leave. I hate how production added an echo to that. Oh man, I'm just so delighted we got that in the 3rd episode. So early in the season. You can leave. Oh my God, and now Meredith turns around and stops the waitstaff and asks for security. to get Angie escorted out of a public restaurant. All the other ladies are so taken aback. Meredith then gets up, goes to their waiter who has no power whatsoever. I feel bad for him as a former waiter. And this crazy white woman coming up to you, sir, you need to get her out of here. She is not welcome at my table. The waiter's like, excuse me, she needs to leave. I'm the hostess. Oh my God. I'm so mad that Angie got you there, Meredith. I am. The other ladies are trying not to laugh. We cut to Heather's confessional and she confirms that she was 5 martinis in when this all happened. Yeah, Meredith's gone off the rails. If anybody at the table cares for her to be here, then you can go with her. It don't even look like they all touched their food, but they need to leave because Meredith is definitely like short-circuiting like Rosie the Robot. Meredith's behavior is getting worse. She's like, there's much deeper things going on. There's the disabled children. They're gonna be disabled for the rest of their lives. What? She's making Mary Cosby look sane, and that's the real concerning issue here. She then gets up, you ladies have a good night, while I go to things that matter in the world. Oh man, this is good. This is really good. I think this is the best episode they've had in this franchise. Heather's too drunk to calm Meredith down, so it takes Lisa, of all people at the table, to go and check on her. We see Meredith and Lisa in front of the restaurant. Meredith is like, she needs to go. She needs to go. Get her the fuck out. It's disgusting energy. Her behavior, I'm thinking it's a combination of prescription meds and alcohol. Like, she is up to the point of hyperventilating, and then we're back at the table, and Heather drunk ass is pointing out how Meredith just went to a British accent. Well, at least Lisa is here for Meredith in this moment because Meredith is sobbing on her shoulder. I'm kind of concerned about the group dynamic because when you have this big of a fight between two people, like, how do you come back from this? Like, how do you just move on? So as I thought Lisa was calming Meredith down, Meredith threatens that she knows some type of tea on Angie's husband, and she's like, don't fuck with me. Get her the fuck out. Wow, when Meredith is taken there, she really goes off the deep end. When Lisa hears this though, we cut to her confessional and she says she notices this pattern with Meredith anytime she goes at it with somebody. Like she doesn't want them to be around, and then she claims to know like a vicious rumor about them. And she knows this because she was on the other side of it last season. We then hear from her that she thinks the real victim in this is Angie. Now, Angie started this fight with Meredith. Like Meredith didn't even want to address the situation. So they go back to the table, but I'm like, at this point, they need to leave the restaurant. Like, one of them just had a mental breakdown at the table. As they're back at the table, Angie now, coming off really fake, wants to be really apologetic with Meredith. And Meredith, she can't process it, so she starts to just break down and cry again and tells her that she needs to leave again. Thankfully, Lisa interjects and says, we need to put a pin in this, and then they all leave the restaurant. As they get into the Sprinter, Heather is wiggity wasted, like beyond white girl wasted. She lets the group know. We see Meredith in the Sprinter. She's still breaking down crying. She's in Monica's arms now, being consoled. Meredith then tells the ladies that we can talk about this another time. I'm going through something or whatever. But then Whitney next to her is calling her on her bullshit, saying, Meredith, you always do this when people are asking you what's going on, or when you're trying to like get out of a conversation, you said like you're going through something. Whitney does have a point though. That is Meredith's go-to. They cut to Whitney's confessional. She's just going off about it. Not her Amazon package didn't arrive on time. They finally get to the Trixie Motel. Meredith couldn't get off that Sprinter faster. I've had enough. Now, most of the ladies get off the Sprinter, but a few stay on. We see Mary, Whitney, Monica, and Heather. Heather couldn't get off because she's too damn drunk to even stand. So then, in this moment, Mary is calling out Whitney. little girl. But she's calling Whitney out saying, you know Meredith is fragile right now. She's kind of broken. Look what you did. Whitney's like,
Mary, no, I didn't. I'm standing up for myself, Mary.
Mary tells her to grow up.
That's very offensive, Mary.
Mary's now picking a fight with Whitney and calling her out for what she said about her and her family. Whitney's kind of walking on eggshells right now with Mary. Oh man, we still got 3 minutes left, but Mary says, you called me a pornography. Y'all heard that right. She said, you called me a pornography, sweetheart. Whitney is so confused. She's like, what? I never said you did porn. So now Mary's trying to get her words together. And then she asks Heather, what did she call me? Heather is fucking wasted. But then she lifts her head up and says, predator, and then pulls her head back down. And then she continues her argument. Yes, predator. I mean, technically, Whitney wasn't lying. I mean, you're a predator to the people in the church because you're using their donations to fund your odd life. So I'm on Whitney's side when it comes to that personally. That was the cherry on top, seeing Heather just lift her head up to say predator and put it right back down. Mary then tells Whitney that she's done with her. She leaves the sprinter as well as Monica. Heather, she needs some help, some medical attention, but Whitney's staying with her by her side. But she's saying, close the door. Oh no. Oh my God. So the credits are rolling as the driver shuts the door. But then we hear Heather telling Whitney that she needs to throw up. All you hear is vomiting, and then Whitney's like, open the door, open the door. The driver then comes back around to let Whitney out. She says she can't do this. And then the cameraman, for whatever reason, zooms in on Heather vomiting. We can see it coming from the bag. And that is where the episode ends. What an episode. Like, this was really good. Like, this was A+ fucking Housewives. And poor Heather, that was very embarrassing for her. So we see the clip for next week's episode, which looks really promising. I got nothing bad to say, y'all, surprisingly. And Monica, she did the damn thing. Like, she is showing up. And, you know, Angie K, she's annoying as fuck too, but she's doing her job as well. Y'all let me know what y'all thought about this episode. And whose side are y'all on? Angie or Meredith? I would love to know. With that, make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see y'all for the next episode. Bye.